What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this, we have how Hindus are becoming a crucial force for Trump. I'm very excited to see this. It's very intriguing to me. But before we dive in, if you guys happen to enjoy it, please don't forget to smash subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Let's see how Hindus coming out in droves for the boy.
Something very interesting is happening in US politics.
New York, New Jersey, Maryland, places which otherwise are blue states but have significant Indian American or American Hindu communities in them.
Now please join me now as we chant the names of Krishna. As a practicing Hindu, I have been on the receiving end of Hindu phobia.
Beyond the jokes, many Indian American voters are practical, looking for policies that benefit their career, family, and businesses. Under Trump, many saw favorable policies that supported skilled immigration, technology, partnership, and entrepreneurial growth.
So I'm a Hindu. That strand of sacrifice and duty, that's foundational to Hinduism.
In fact, 31% Indian Americans voted for Trump in 2024, up from 20% in 2020, whereas nearly 90% Indian Americans voted for Obama. Some exit polls even say that as many as 45% Indian American males were leaning towards voting for Trump. That is a very radical shift in just a few years. And as you may have noticed, all of a sudden, some Hindu Americans and Indian Americans are very prominent figures in the Republican Party.
Trump may be assembling the most pro-India cabinet in American history.
Hold on. Oh, talk to me.
What the hell is going on? Well, one very simple reason is that many Democratic leaders and progressive activists in the US have been very openly anti-Indian and anti-Hindu. In the guise of attacking Hindutva and Modi's Hindu nationalism, they've been attacking every single aspect of Indian Americans' culture. The New York City Democratic mayor called the Ram Mandir float a symbol of hate.
The Democratic Party is not your friend.
Wow.
The Democratic mayor of New York called the Ram Mandir float a symbol of hate.
Democratic politicians like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib have been particularly outspoken against Indian national security issues.
Why has the Biden administration been so reluctant to criticize Modi's government on human rights? What will it take? How much does the Modi administration have to criminalize? Our partnership with India is strategic, but it's also based on our shared values of democracy, religious pluralism, and the respect of human rights. Under Modi and the BJP government, all of these mutual values have been threatened. And I think we have to understand the situation in Kashmir as part of an overall Hindu nationalism project.
Omar and Tlaib both boycotted Prime Minister Modi's speech in the American Congress. Many Democrats like Tlaib or Ilhan Omar framed India's abrogation of Article 370 as an occupation of Kashmir, which basically towed the separatist line and the line of the Pakistani ISI, a terrorist organization that funds multiple terrorist organizations throughout the world. Ilhan Omar even visited Pakistani-occupied Kashmir. In 2019, Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal introduced a resolution in the US House of Representatives criticizing India's actions in Jammu and Kashmir following the abrogation of Article 370. The Democratic Party has openly worked with deeply anti-Hindu organizations like Equality Labs, who have massively overblown the existence of caste discrimination in the US. In fact, Equality Labs posted on their Instagram that the Democratic Party has endorsed the anti-caste discrimination bill SB 403, which will basically single out the Indian American or the Hindu community for extra surveillance from the American government and security agencies. Such bills have been introduced in places like Chicago, Portland, Seattle as well, all of which are Democrat-controlled areas. The Democrats have hook, line, and sinker bought into the anti-Hindu rhetoric of groups like Equality Labs and ignored the fact that all of Equality Labs' major claims were thoroughly debunked by actual scientific reports put out by organizations like the Carnegie Endowment. The Carnegie Endowment for International Peace conducted a comprehensive study of Indian Americans in 2020 titled Social Realities of Indian Americans, results from the 2020 Indian American Attitude Survey. This report provides a detailed overview of Indian American attitudes and reveals some very interesting insights, particularly around the topic of caste discrimination.
So y'all talk to me in the comment section. How do you feel about everything he's saying? How do you feel? Do you guys agree on the fact that the Democratic Party is more anti-Hindu than the Republican Party? We already saw a couple of Democratic representatives kind of trying to condemn India for what's going on in I'm trying to get the names right. Jamir, Kashmir, and I'm gonna get these names right. I promise I'll get it right by the end of the video. But we saw them condemning, and we know what's going on there is that's actually Indian territory that has been taken over by Pakistan, and I don't think it has anything to do with them being Muslims. I think it has to do with there was a Hindu, I guess, civilization there. Like there were Hindus there that were kind of ran off by them in the past, and nobody really said anything about that. But now we want to come back and condemn them for trying to take that land back is not right. Jammu and Kashmir is not right. I just think, he said there's a shift, and you understandably see why there is a shift. You can't just continue to spit out this rhetoric towards Hindus and then expect to have that vote, or you can't make these policies against Hindus and expect to have their vote when it comes election time. You're burning bridges, not building them. You had that when Barack was running, you had 90% of the vote. And you look at now, because of the policies that you implemented, because of things that Democratic representatives have come out and said, now you don't have that vote anymore. And your policies don't lean towards them, so they're not going to vote for you. So what do you guys think in the comment section about that so far?
Or rather, the lack of it within the community. The study found that contrary to the popular belief and media narratives, there was minimal evidence of caste discrimination within the Indian American community. In fact, only 5% of the respondents reported experiencing any discrimination based on caste. This finding completely obliterates a narrative that is deeply held by members of the Democratic Party that portray caste as a pervasive issue in Indian American social and professional circles. In fact, 53% of Indian respondents said that they do not even personally identify with any caste group. That's how diluted the caste issue is in America. The Carnegie Endowment study explicitly critiques the Equality Lab survey on caste, exposing its skewed data, and said that it does not represent the Indian American population in America. So you have the Democratic Party here on the one hand, openly alienating the Indian American community. On the other hand, Trump personally has made some very clear overtures towards the Indian American community. He attended a charity event organized by the Republican Hindu Coalition where he said this:
I am a big fan of Hindu and I am a big fan of India. Big fan.
He has appeared with Modi in events like Howdy Modi and Namaste Trump and seems to have a really good relationship with him. He has supported India on important national security issues like the abrogation of Article 370, the Citizenship Amendment Act, as well as India's conflict with China in Doklam. Trump also supported India's banning of Chinese apps and said that this is something that he would like to emulate even in America. Now, this is not to say that the Republicans, the party of the hardcore Christians, is somehow now in love with the Hindus. But as of yet, let's be clear, they have not gone out of their way to demonize and destroy the Hindu community in the way the Democrats have. And as we will see in this video, the Hindu community has actually made a good space for itself within the Republican Party and now are being openly courted by top Republicans like Trump. Trump has also rejected the alt-right racist groypers and their Project 2025 quite openly in the media, as well as in his campaign speeches, which has also made communities of color like blacks, Latinos, and Indian Americans feel more comfortable in supporting him.
I denounce white supremacy, okay? Wait, are you listening? I denounce white supremacy.
And now, as I said, we have examples of Hindu Americans and Indian Americans occupying prominent positions in Trump's new cabinet. One of them is Vivek Ramaswamy, an Indian American entrepreneur and conservative politician known for his strong alignment with Trump's policies and ideals.
President Trump, I believe, was the best president of the 21st century. It's a fact.
You didn't say that you condemn white supremacy.
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which absolutely fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not.
If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would.
Ramaswamy is a multi-millionaire and a former biotech executive known for founding Roivant Sciences and achieving considerable success in the pharmaceutical sector. He's also known for his sharp criticism of what he calls woke capitalism. And because of this, he has garnered popularity among young conservatives and advocates for limited government intervention and free markets. Interestingly, despite being such a big supporter of Trump and a big proponent of the Republican Party, he is also someone who was proud of his Hindu roots and someone who didn't feel the need to abandon his culture in order to further his own political career.
God has a name, and Hinduism is a wicked pagan religion, and it's completely incompatible with America. So my challenge, I guess, to you going forward would be to say who this God is.
Run for U.S. president at the age of 37 as somebody who's been in business, who's actually, easiest thing to call myself some Vic Ramsey and pretend to be a Christian. Got other people on that debate stage last time who shortened their names and called themselves to be a Christian too. I'm gonna man up and tell you who I am, and believe me, your suspicion is off base. Questioning the motivations of what somebody is and get to the content of where there's an actual difference of opinion.
And now Vivek's support for Donald Trump has brought him to the forefront of Trump's political campaign rallies, making...
I personally, when it comes to that, don't believe religion should have a factor in the leader of the country. I believe the leader of the country should have qualities that all leaders should have, that should be able to lead the country on the right path. Like, I love the way that Modi leads India, and you see the economy, and you see the infrastructure, and you see all the great things that are happening in India at the moment. You see the military continuing to grow stronger. You see a lot of great things. You see a lot of progress. But here, yeah, I don't think there has... I think I watched a video recently. There hasn't been a president that hasn't been a Christian in the U.S., I don't think, ever. And so that was kind of crazy to me to think about. I am a Christian. I absolutely love Christianity. But I have nothing against anybody of any other religion. And I'm not going to say that my religion is better than your religion, or your religion is wrong and mine is right. I'll never come out and say that. And so that's why I say that I don't think it should matter which religion you practice, as long as the leader of the country, you do what's best for the people in that country. I guess you're never going to make everyone happy, but what makes the most sense for that country, and you help that country rise, you help that country progress, you help that country grow. I think that's what's most important. And so I'm glad Vivek, I didn't know he was Hindu, but yeah, it shouldn't matter. So your question, and then that guy questioning the religion of Hinduism is crazy. He probably doesn't know too much about it, if I'm being honest. What do you guys think about that? Like, that's got to be absolutely frustrating. But what do you guys think about the fact, do you think, I guess, what religion that you follow or you worship should play an active role in your ability to become president, or your ability to lead? I would love to hear that.
Making him a dynamic figure in conservative circles and a rising voice among young Republicans. Trump also invited Vivek Ramaswamy to the stage in Vegas to speak about him. Trump also expressed strong admiration for Vivek, calling him smart as hell and noting his impressive skills as a candidate who initially posed tough competition to him.
He's like a machine gun. Come on up here, Vivek. All right, now he's a great guy, great future.
I want you to give it up for the greatest president of the 21st century, standing right here, Donald J. Trump.
I'm gonna go with Barack, but anyways, I'm gonna go with Barack. But we're going to go past it.
We had a secure border, a growing economy. People were living prosperous lives with crime going down in this country.
Trump also hinted that Ramaswamy could play a prominent role in his next administration, acknowledging his talents and saying that we can put him in charge of one of these big monsters. And now, in a move that has surprised many people, Trump has appointed Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE.
Reject the impulse. It's going to happen in the next 4 years. We will face temptation to say that we want to replace that left-wing nanny state with a right-wing nanny state. The right answer to that question is hell no. The right answer is to dismantle the nanny state.
The goal is to streamline government operations, reduce wasteful spending, and bring a touch of Silicon Valley, move fast and break things attitude to Washington, D.C. This department is apparently influenced by Argentina's leader, Javier Milei.
Ministerio del Turismo y Deporte, afuera. Ministerio de Cultura, afuera. Ministerio de Ambiente y Desarrollo Sostenible, afuera. Ministerio de las Mujeres y Género y Diversidad, afuera. Ministerio de Obras Públicas, afuera. Aunque te resista.
Javier Milei, known for his libertarian views, launched a sweeping plan to deregulate the economy, eliminating or changing more than 300 governmental rules, including those on rent and labor practices. One of DOGE's main objectives is to cut through the infamous red tape that often entangles federal operations. By streamlining processes and eliminating unnecessary regulations, the department aims to make government services more efficient and responsive. Now, Musk has suggested potential cuts amounting to $2 trillion from governmental red tape, although it is unclear over what period this would occur. Again, achieving such savings would require significant reductions in various federal programs and services, which could face serious resistance from lawmakers, the bureaucracy, and the public. More resistance than they could possibly realize, because they're going up against the big, massive Washington establishment. I mean, look at India. Modi has tried to reduce his dependence and the Indian government's dependence on the Indian bureaucracy and has not succeeded so far. I know the US and India are very different countries, but the point is that the bureaucracy has a lot of power and a lot of influence and is deeply embedded into the government. Vivek has been talking about having a program like this for a couple of years, so in a way, he has gotten exactly what he wanted in the new Trump administration. Whether or not this turns the lumbering American government into a lean, mean machine or into a free-for-all mess where all the guardrails are off and the US economy goes teetering into an unregulated mess, that remains to be seen. Trump has thrown the challenge to Vivek. Now Vivek has to sink or swim, and his political career depends on how successful this endeavor is going to be. But again,
where do y'all think it'll lead to? Thriving mean machine or chaos? I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what all is gonna get cut. If it's wasteful spending, that I'm all for it. If it's programs that people depend on or people need, there's going to be absolute backlash against it. But we don't know. Like you said, we got to find out over the next 4 years, like what that's going to look like. And so, wow, $2 trillion is a lot. If you can save $2 trillion without getting rid of like essential programs that people are dependent upon, then wow, that's absolutely amazing. That'd be absolutely amazing. But I completely agree in the fact that bureaucracy does have a lot of power. It is embedded in the government. I don't know if they'll have enough power to for people to stop, I guess, cut the dependency on bureaucracy. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out over here in the U.S. and I'm praying that it cut $2 trillion wasteful spending. That I'm praying that these next 4 years are heaven. I'm praying past the next 4 years. The rest of my life, it's just an amazing country. Time will tell.
Hindu American has been given such a big responsibility, and that speaks volumes about the new Republican Party and how this new party wants to be seen. Then let's talk about Tulsi Gabbard, who is a Hindu congresswoman from Hawaii. She made history in 2012 as the first Hindu and first American Samoan in Congress, representing Hawaii in the 2nd Congressional District. Her anti-war stance and commitment to veterans issues quickly made her a distinctive voice.
There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
She also holds the rank of Major in the Hawaii Army National Guard, demonstrating a commitment to public service through her dual roles in politics and military. She also made history as the first Hawaii state official to voluntarily step down from office to serve in a combat zone, deploying with the Hawaii Army National Guard in 2004. She also gained experience on the national stage, working on the staff of U.S. Senator Daniel Akaka. Gabbard rose within the Democratic Party, serving as the vice chair of the Democratic National Committee from 2013 to 2016. However, her support for Bernie Sanders during the 2016 primaries marked the beginning of a shift away from the party leadership. She saw the way that the Democratic primaries were rigged to take the nomination away from Bernie and hand it to an establishment insider like Hillary Clinton, who was a historically unlikable candidate who eventually lost the election to Trump. I wonder why that could have happened.
Thank you.
I would have been Team Bernie too. I actually did like Bernie, and I actually like the policies that he would have put in place, or that he talked about. I guess I say he would have put in place, but a lot of these presidents say they're going to do certain things they run in these campaigns, but not that they don't want to put them into place. It's just that a lot of the time you don't have the power to actually execute exactly what you want to execute because of the checks and balances, because they have to go through so many different people and so many different systems and processes. It's hard to actually execute what you want to execute and get things passed that you want to get passed, even as the top person. And so that's why I say I agree with the policies he ran on wanting to put into place, but whether those would have ever came to light, who knows? But yeah, I don't know anything about Hillary, so I can't really say anything about Hillary. I know she lost. That's all I can give you.
Good night, and may the force be with you. I don't know who created Pokemon Go. I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
I guess we'll never know. This discontent culminated in her departure from the Democratic Party in October 2022, citing a shift away from the values she once held dear.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who are driven by cowardly wokeness.
Although she leaned a bit too heavily on the trans debate for my liking, but apparently that was something that really mattered to the voters as well, seeing on how they ended up voting in the 2024 elections. In October 2024, Gabbard's political evolution took a dramatic turn when she officially joined the Republican Party.
Proud to stand here with you today, President Trump, and announce that I'm joining the Republican Party.
Hey.
Nominating this.
Hey, she came out in that all red. That's crazy. She came out in that, but yeah, she switched sides. She just felt like the side she was on just didn't stand for the things that she stood for, and the values didn't match up, and so she decided to switch sides. Which, hey, if your values, if your party doesn't have the same values as you, or doesn't stand for the same thing, find the party which does. And whether you lean towards one party or another, that makes no difference to me. Just in the sense of people have different priorities in their lives, and so you may vote one way because of your certain priorities in your life, and you may vote another because of certain priorities in your life, and that's just based on your priorities. Again, whoever ended up leading this country, I just pray for prosperity, and that's going to be Donald for the next 4 years. So I just pray that for the U.S. to have prosperity and for us to be able to come up. So her switching sides shouldn't be an issue for anybody. That's just a personal decision for her, because she didn't think her values aligned with the Democratic Party anymore. She saw a switch that she felt there was a switch that she just didn't rock with. So now she switched over to representative. I guess she more lines up with them and their values and how they do things now, and that's what's going down.
This man to be the Republican nominee for president because of his commitment to these fundamental American principles of freedom and peace and prosperity.
Gabbard then shared her view that the Democratic Party had strayed away from its original values, calling it unrecognizable in its current form. She also expressed her alignment with Trump's commitment to non-interventionist foreign policy, focusing on diplomacy and avoiding unnecessary military engagements. She has also criticized the Biden administration's foreign policy as overly aggressive, warning that it could lead to heightened global tensions and increased risks of conflict. And now, her shift to the Republican Party seems to have been rewarded quite highly, because Trump has tapped Tulsi Gabbard to be the next director of national intelligence. So to understand this position better, let's skip back to 2004, where post 9/11, lawmakers got together and thought, we need somebody, or we need an agency that is going to coordinate the efforts between the various security agencies of the country, and thus the role of Director of National Intelligence, or DNI, was born. The job is actually quite simple: to coordinate the 17 federal intelligence agencies, including the CIA and the FBI and the NSA. So basically, the FBI and the CIA will be reporting to the DNI, who's going to be Tulsi Gabbard. The DNI is also the principal advisor to the President, the National Security Council, and the Homeland Security Council on all things intelligence related. They oversee everything from counterterrorism and cybersecurity to that new trend all the kids are into, foreign interference in elections. So now, when the Islamists around the world complain about a Hindu conspiracy when terrorists die, they might actually have a point. She'll also be briefing the President daily on all the intel gathered overnight, from potential threats to top secret high-stakes intel for dummies breakdowns. Now, this is a very big responsibility given to someone who has just recently joined the Republican Party. So the Trump administration has clearly shown that Tulsi is somebody they hold in very high regard. She's somebody that 100%. Is very high ranked in Trump's inner circle and will be working with the president on a daily basis. Now we come to another.
Dang, she done switch sides. She done shot up the charts. Hey, on this other side, she got a very high ranking position. Okay.
Indian American who might not be as well known as the other two people I just talked about, and that is Kashyap or Kash Patel. He's an influential figure in the Trump administration. He had a significant impact on national security. Patel's career began in national security when he joined the Department of Justice, where he worked as a terrorism prosecutor. He later moved to the House Intelligence Committee, playing a pivotal role in some of the most high-profile investigations under Chairman Devin Nunes. He was instrumental in the committee's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 US elections, focusing on the allegations of FBI and DOJ misconduct. His work culminated in the Nunes memo, which criticized the FBI's handling of surveillance practices. The memo received widespread attention and drew praise from Trump and his supporters, bolstering Patel's reputation as a dedicated and formidable figure within Republican circles. Patel also worked in the National Security Council, where he worked as a senior counterterrorism director. His work involved shaping policies related to counterterrorism operations and national security strategy, including efforts to counter ISIS and manage threats from terrorist groups. After that, Patel was appointed as Chief of Staff to Acting Defense Secretary from 2020 to 2021. As Chief of Staff, Patel was one of the most influential figures at the Pentagon because he played a key role in defense policy decisions, troop withdrawal plans from Afghanistan, and streamlining intelligence operations. His appointment was part of a broader reshuffle that aimed to align the Pentagon's policies with the Trump administration. With Trump's return to the White House, Patel's name has once again emerged as a contender for a top intelligence post.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops.
And our biggest enemy against that truth is the deep state. And we are on a mission to annihilate the deep state.
And to those in Congress who aided and abetted this corrupt criminal activity, and we should look at who was responsible for what and whether there was any ill will and intention to suppress evidence from federal investigators.
There were rumors that Kash handled the CIA, but Donald Trump appointed John Ratcliffe as the new CIA director. But it is now being reported that he could end up heading the FBI.
Kash Patel may be the new director of the FBI, and Tulsi Gabbard may be the new head of DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, which, as you know, all 17 intelligence agencies, including the Central Intelligence Agency, report up to that.
And while we're talking about Hindu...
what do you guys think about this so far? It looks like there are a lot of Hindu Americans being put into very prominent positions, which is absolutely amazing. Whoever's best qualified for the job, that's who should be in those positions, 100%. So, I think I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't know too much about DNI, too much about FBI, about CIA. There's a lot of conspiracies floating around, but I've never looked into any department, like research any of these departments, done my own research. So I don't know too much about it. But what do you guys think about this? Seeing these Hindu Americans being put into these very prominent positions in Trump's cabinet. I think that's an absolutely incredible thing. And hopefully everything definitely works out.
Faces in the Trump administration, let's talk about Usha Vance, who is now going to be the second lady of the United States. She's all set to make history as the very first Indian American and the very first Hindu second lady of the United States. She represents a very unique blend of cultural heritage and conservative values, and she's an accomplished person in her own right. She has a distinguished legal career, having served in prestigious clerkships with two of the most influential conservative figures on the US Supreme Court, Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And although she's not directly involved in any official capacity with the Trump administration, her presence as the second lady and her alignment with Trump and J.D. Vance's policies give her a very visible role and could provide the Indian American community a figure that they could latch onto with the Republican Party. And with a visible position, she could play a pivotal role in GOP outreach, particularly to culturally diverse communities. Trump had previously also shown a willingness to elevate Indian Americans to high positions with Ajit Pai, who was the head of the FCC, and Nikki Haley, who was the former UN ambassador in the Trump administration, who were also both big proponents of developing a good relationship between India and the United States. So now you see here a clear courting of the Indian Americans by the Republican Party and a clear attempt by Republicans to revamp their image by providing more space and visibility to Indian Americans and people of color within their party. They want to portray themselves as the Republican Party of the future, less focused on race and more focused on small government and conservative values. Contrast this with the Democratic Party that has been doing its absolute best to alienate the Indian Americans. I mean, going out of their way. I mean, there's one thing to not like someone, but there's another thing to send them 10 fuck you emails a day and throw poop at their house when you're driving past it. That's basically what the Democrats have been doing with the Indian Americans, in particular the Hindu Americans.
I didn't know that.
So
that's
every
crazy.
action has a reaction. Shockingly, and I know you're going to find this very hard to believe, but Indian Americans actually don't like their culture and beliefs abused. I know it's wild. They're a strange people. And so over the last election cycles, there's been a very clear shift among Indian Americans, many of whom are Hindu, towards the Republican Party. And personally, I think it presents a great opportunity for the Indian Americans. This is the highest earning demographic in America, one of the most well-educated demographics in America, a demographic that assimilates seamlessly into the country, adopts America as their home and American culture as their own culture. But for the longest time, they've been sidelined by the Democrats, and the only affirmation that they get from the Democrats is the odd Diwali party or a Democrat politician dancing to a Bollywood song. While on the other hand, the Democrats introduced bills that would lead to singling out of the Indian American community and enhance surveillance against them. Essentially, the Democrats have used the Indian American community like a condom. So it's time that the Indian American community maybe starts to think a little differently and maybe take a page from the Jewish American community's playbook. The Jewish American community has long wielded its influence within both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, utilizing a combination of political, financial, and organizational strength to ensure that their interests are represented. Indian Americans could do the same with the Republican Party. Jewish communities have mastered the art of targeted donations to influence policy. Groups like AIPAC have shown that money talks and organized efforts can shift policies in a way that benefit the community. Jewish voters often organize well enough to vote as a bloc in certain areas that can decide key elections. Indian Americans are also a decent size of the population in certain battleground areas, and their votes in these key areas could dramatically change elections and thus could dramatically impact policy and representation through concentrated voting patterns. There is a serious opportunity here for the Indian American community to really have their voices heard and really have their interests taken care of. It's up to them if they can take this chance. And what do you think? Do you think the Indian American community is making a mistake by leaving the Democratic Party, the party of the so-called minorities, and joining the Republican Party? Do you think they should join the Republican Party? And what steps do you think the Indian American community could take to ensure that their interests are taken care of? Also, what do you expect in terms of performance from people like Vivek Ramaswamy and Tulsi Gabbard? Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. As usual, guys, if you've not already, please become a member on YouTube or a member on Patreon. I will see you for the next episode, and until then, stay happy, stay healthy. I will see you for the next episode. And to all of you, from the CEO, from the Chief Enforcement Officer, and the Chief Compliance Officer, a second.
And the Chief Compliance Officer. That's all we got for that video. He made very good points in that video. A lot of stuff that I literally had no idea. And that's why I love watching these videos, just because I feel like I learned so much more. And I would love to, those questions that he had at the end, I would love to hear what your guys' take on that. Do you guys think it's a mistake? Do you guys think it's the right choice? How do y'all feel? Do you guys think, I didn't know the Jewish Americans, I mean, they are a powerful group here in the U.S. So I should have, but hey, they influential on both sides of the ticket. They like, no matter who win, we gonna get what we want, point blank, period. But y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comment section. I would love to hear. That's all we have. If you guys enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, check out the next one. I'll see y'all next time.